Hello and welcome to Unit 26 of this course in Global English. We are in Writing Module, Unit 5 just now, and we are going to continue talking about how to write in simple sentences using simple language, small words, short sentences, and we will look at some examples of different kinds of writings, and we will ask ourselves if we can make them better and if we can write better. Let's look at some of these sentences. These are some very famous, well-known lines from classics or spoken by great men and women which have become quotable quotes, The first line, obviously, is from the Holy Bible, and it says how this entire creation began. Look at the sentence. It's just another simple sentence. It has only one verb with tense. At the first, God made the heaven and the earth. So only made has tense, it is in the past tense. And all other words are familiar words, one syllable, monosyllabic words with one vowel at the first. God made. Made in spelling has two vowels, A and E, but in pronunciation it has only one vowel, A, so that you say made. The heaven, of course, has two vowels, but that's about the only word out of about 10 words which is bisyllabic. The point I am trying to make is that the great literature of mankind has been created, the timeless classics which never become old, which remain popular with generations of readers, and in more than one country, they all use simple language. That is Gandhiji next. Truth is God. Okay. Second is a wonderful quote from a man who was in prison for some time, and while in prison he missed his daughter, and his daughter also missed, that girl also missed her father because her mother was no more. Of course, she was being looked after by aunts and grandparents, granduncles, but no substitute for father. So father writes to the daughter and writes about various things, about what he would have showed that girl, taking her in her arms and pointing to the sky, saying, stars twinkle, planets do not. Planets do not twinkle. They have stable reflection of light. Okay. So, but all of these things, maybe twinkle may be a new word for some of us, but stars and planets, do and not, are really not new words for us. But so great truths of any language, Sanskrit, Greek, Latin, Persian, Arabic, Chinese, Japanese, French, German, any language you take, Swahili and other African languages, great truths of any language have been recorded, have been expressed in simple language. I have some other quotes from other luminaries. You can check the net and you can see who said these things. Tact is the art of making a point without making an enemy. Quite often in debates, we are able to make our points, but then we also make enemies. We lose friends. If you are tactful, that doesn't happen. That tact something comes from a very well-known 18th century scientist. I want you to guess and check with the net if your guess is correct. Similarly, the next line, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. It comes from a very saintly political freedom fighter of the 20th century. Once again, I am not going to tell you the name. You can check the net and see who said it. But look at the wisdom and look at the language. The weak can never forgive. All familiar words, all monosyllabic words, but forgive and forgiveness, of course, is three, attribute is three syllables. Otherwise, they are all monosyllabic words, simple sentences with only one verb in tense. Look at the next line. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving, Comes from Einstein, perhaps the greatest scientist of the last century, and according to many, one of the greatest scientists ever. All of these things, and you can take 1,000 quotations of this kind, and you will find that all of these quotations, all of these simple but great truths of life have been said in simple words and in simple language. What do I mean by simple words? They are mostly common words in everyday use. What do I mean by simple sentence? A sentence which has only one verb with tense. Okay, let's move. This is it. What is a simple word? It is small word, 3, 4, 5 letters, It is usually monosyllabic. It has only one vowel, or sometimes bisyllabic. Very occasionally, very rarely, maybe 5 out of 100 or 10 out of 100, it is trisyllabic. This is common. You know it. It is used every day, frequently, Among these words, you have very few. Of course, they are there. It is not that they are not, but you have very few adjectives or adverbs which find a place in among very frequent words. So, it uses a simple language, uses simple words. That is why I have said simple language is equal to simple words plus simple sentences. Okay, what is the simple sentence? It has only one verb with tense. No matter how many other words it has or it may have. Say, for example, look at the two sentences I have given in third bullet point. John is making toys. John was making toys. So many people might think that making is also a verb. Yes, it may be a verb, but it doesn't have tense. Where is the tense? Tense is there in is or was. Because you can say John is making tense, which is present. You can say John was making toys, which is past. Okay. So John is making toys, John was making toys. It is the word is or was that has tense, not making. Similarly, sometimes you may find verbs with to, Say Sam wants or Sam wanted to keep some toys. The tense is with the verb want or wanted, not with to keep. To keep can follow a verb in either tense. You can say Sam wanted some toys. This is past tense. Sam wants some toys. This is present tense. It is present tense because the verb wants is in the present tense. not because of the to keep or making, etc., etc. Let us have some, so in sentences given above, is, was, wants, wanted, they are the verbs with tense, not make or keep or making or to keep, etc. They are not. They are called verbs without tense. In the language of grammar, they are called, making, keeping will be with verbs with ing, but without tense may be called gerund, and the other may be called infinite or infinitive. Let's not bother about those words, they are a mouthful. The simple definition is that there are verbs with tense, they make a sentence. Without them, you cannot have a sentence. You cannot say John making toys, or John to keep some toys, or Sam to keep some toys. That is an incorrect sentence. The correct sentence would be John is making toys, or John was making toys. So tense is with these things, and without these verbs, your sentence remains in English incomplete. Okay? It is therefore important that we understand the concept of verbs with tense. Look at these sentences once again. Now I am going to keep quiet, and I am going to ask you to use your cursor, use your pen or paper, and mark or underline actually those words that you think have tense. So for example, in the first line, you have at the first God made, and then other words. So which word has tense? Underline that word. Next, in the fourth sentence, tact is the art of making a point without making an enemy. So does making have tense, or does is, the word like is, that word has tense. So look at the other sentences and mark the tensed verb, the verb that has tense, by underlining it. Underline that word. And once you have done that, and I will have more to say about this in the next unit. Let's today concentrate on simple words and simple language. How do you write? I have been talking about how to write, but without really telling you how to begin writing. Okay? So first and the simple thing is, collect all your thoughts in your mind. Given a topic, no matter what you want to say, have it all there. Suppose you want to write a short note about the bag you lost on the bus. Okay? So you can write to the manager of the bus company. Now what would you say? You will tell the bus manager, you will tell the manager of that company which bus, what time, from where you took that bus, where you got down, how did your bag look like, what did it contain, and then something about you, so that when they find the bag, they can return it to you. So once you have collected your thoughts, once you know what you are going to write, then write them down in any manner you like. Don't worry about grammatical correctness or about order or any way you like, anything you like. Okay? Get it out of your head first on paper or on your computer. No matter how you are going to write, get them all there. That's it. Now once there, then you can start revising, rechecking, but it is very important, it is crucial that you should get all your thoughts on the given subject. First think for some time. Ask yourself what you already know. Ask yourself again what else can be found out. Okay? Say for example, I told you to write about the bag you left on the bus. So, what information can you give about bag? You can say how it looked like. Was it red or green or white or blue or black or yellow or a mixture of these things? Did it have a pattern? How big or small? But I forgot to tell you that, it's possible that the bag may have its brand name, the name of the maker there. Okay. So like that, collect all your thoughts, rack your brain, do some brainstorming all by yourself and get all your thoughts out on paper or on computer screen in any manner you like, in any order you like. Because a piece of writing in English or any other language, it can be called a written piece only when you have written something. So something is important more than the language. The language will be how, but something is what. Unless you have what, unless you have something to say, what are you going to say? So therefore, as they say in formal English, rack your brain, check it, storm, shake it, and get all that you want to say on the given topic out on the paper. Okay. Once you are there, then check for organization, check for words, check for sentences, and finally check for harmony. If one thing leads to, one sentence leads to another, one paragraph leads to another, etc., etc. Okay. So that is what I have said. Check for order. What do I mean? I mean to say that if you are writing about A, B, C, then it is possible. Sometimes B may be more important or C may be more important, but quite often it is safe to go in this order: A before B, C before D, E before F, F after E, E after D, D after C, C after B, B after A, like that, it can go on in a logical progression until you reach X, Y, Z, and there you can say Z after X or X before X, Z, as your text demands. But all this is possible and all this is important. Check for order. I will have more to say about this only a little later, not in this unit but in the next. Okay. Remove redundant, inappropriate words. Use one word for many words. Like, for instance, quite often, it is possible for you to see that many words in the text before you yourself have written in the first draft are perhaps not necessary. What is a redundant word? A redundant word is that word which is not incorrect, but even without that, and sometimes better without that word, the text will read more easily, more effectively. So, a redundant word is not a wrong word, but it is an unnecessary word. And writing as it is takes paper, takes something to write with, and it does take time. It's not like speaking. Therefore, fewer the words, faster the product. Besides, if you use few words, your chances of making any mistake are also reduced accordingly. If you write a 3, 4, 5 word sentences, it is quite possible that you do not make mistakes of grammar, spelling, vocabulary, punctuation. But if you have long sentences, and I will show you those sentences, then your chances of making mistakes increase. Therefore, what you can do is the following: you can remove redundant words, you can use inappropriate words. What is inappropriate word? Each word has a place. Okay. Now, if you do not use that word you use something else, then that is inappropriate word. I'll give you examples soon. Similarly, inaccurate words that defines only part of what you are trying to say. So all of these words can go away. Actually, a better strategy is, while doing all this, to keep in mind what is that one word which can help me remove unnecessary and other words. Okay. Finally, come to check your sentences for, avoid lengthy and prefer simple sentences. I will have more to say about that in the next unit. Then, also check for style and coherence. I will explain all this, and this is very easy, and the final steps. So do not feel it's anything very intimidating. But let's look at the words now. What do you mean by simple words? Look at the examples, 2 examples before you. Look at these words. Practical application of a concept engenders a deeper understanding. All big words, all uncommon words. Through personal experience, making the learning long lasting. Many students, while completing graduation, while finishing VTech, BSc, BCom, BA, and preparing for higher course, have to write what is popularly known as SOPs. They write this thing. SOPs. What is the full form of SOP? You can check on the net, or you can check here. I am going to write. This is statement of purpose. Sorry for my bad handwriting. Statement of purpose. Many students have to write, and I have been lucky in this respect that in my teaching career of over 45 years, I must have seen at least about 1,000 SOPs. And I have found people have a wrong notion about the language of SOPs, statements of purpose. We'll have a session on this, but at the moment all I wish to say is that a good statement, a statement which SOP which has succeeded, which becomes successful, always has, without exception, simple words, common words, familiar words, and equally simple sentences. So this, all the, these 2 pieces, these 2 paragraphs, I took these 2 paragraphs from some old SOPs that were submitted to me by my students for comments and for possible editing. So I am taking, 2 of those paragraphs from 2 different people, now 2 different writers. Now let's look at the words, and let us see if we can write this same thing in a simpler language. Okay. Look at this mouthful of sentences. Practical applications of a concept engenders a deeper understanding through personal experience, making the learning long lasting. All big words. Practical, 3 syllables. Applications, 4. Concept has only 2, but is not very frequent word. Engenders, 3 again. Deeper, 2 again. Understanding, 3. Through, only 1 of course. Personal, 2. Experience, 4. Making the learning, etc., etc. It goes on for the sentence. This sentence itself has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 words. Not a good example of writing. We have to learn, we should learn how to say the same thing in limited number of words, so that we are understood best, we make no mistakes of language or content or style, okay, and we are able to convince the reader what we mean to say by what we say. The same thing here in the second paragraph. The program structure divides the focus semester wise. Okay, we can all rewrite these things. I think you can try rewriting these paragraphs separately using simplest possible words and cutting out all those words that you think are redundant. Let us look at some examples that I have redone for you. Okay, so first check the order. Now in this first paragraph, practical applications, will come also to the order words a little later, but look at the logical structure of this paragraph. Practical application of a concept engenders a deeper understanding through personal experience, making the learning long lasting. And then from a very universal general, it comes down to a particular. Carlson School's business analytics program emphasizes the experimental learning methodology along with a unique blend of theoretical coursework. All the big words and the sentence also, how does it link with the first? How does it lead to the next? The incredible opportunity to work with industry experts for all 3 semesters appeals to me. Again, lengthy sentence, not the place where it ought to come, and again use of words that can leave the reader who knows that language also confused. Okay. So with the third, the incredible opportunity to work with industry experts for all 3 semesters appeals to me. Well, it's a choice you made. Okay. Well, and perhaps it's a good choice, but then you must also use it in its right place. Okay. What do you want to say? The incredible opportunity to work with industry experts for all 3 semesters. Okay. That is unclear. Where does it fit? And this will boost what will boost your overall program, practical application, or your chance to work with experts. You could have made that clearer. Ditto, same thing with the next paragraph. We have rewritten the first paragraph for you. Okay, just check the order. So first, in my opinion, you should begin with the particular and then go to the general, go to the universal. So you can as well begin with Carlson School. I have not changed words at this moment. I wish to draw only your attention to the writing and see how your first and rough draft has been done. Rough draft is good in many ways and not good in many ways. In ways in which it is not good is one of these as well. It doesn't follow the proper order of sentences to express the content you want to express. Therefore, what we have done is we have taken the smallest thing first. So Carlson School. Okay. Then the next, the school will also be visited by experts from industry. So that may give us a chance. And then the outcome, okay, practical application of a construction of a concept engenders a deeper understanding through personal experience. Okay. So, what will these two do? You know, the Carlson School faculty and the industry experts that will be visiting me, they can help me learn how to apply it practically. Okay. So, that is what I have shown. Earlier it was C followed by A and B, but now look at it. Earlier it was, in this paragraph it was C, that is the conclusion first, then A and B. Now, what we have done is we have changed the order and we are now saying A, B, C or C. Okay. Right. You can also try and do a similar thing with the next and check your answers here. Look at words. Let's remove some difficult words. Can we say the same thing in a better language, in a language which doesn't have so many intimidating words that really threaten you? All redundant words in the screen before you have been put within parentheses. Practical application. Why use big words and two words? You can just say use of a concept. Okay. Then why use personal experience? Okay. Making the learning long lasting. All of these things, do not really seem to be necessary. Look at the paragraph, look at the parentheses with which I have included, within which I have included all those words that in my opinion should go away, should not be a part of this text. Take your time. And the text still reads, actually if you remove these words, the text reads, it is these big words that obstruct understanding. In modern literature, people use editors in particular, use a concept called fog index. What does it mean? Fog index means, this is the word, you can check on the net if you like. Fog index. What does it mean? Like on roads in some weathers, you have a lot of dense fog and you cannot move ahead. You do not know what is ahead of you, so that you are cautious. You either don't drive or drive very slowly, lest you should have other traffic before you. There can be a similar fog also in reading a text if it is written as this piece has been written. I will have other examples to share with you, but the point I am making at this stage is that the writer would not have so many problems in writing or after writing if the writer had used simple, common, frequently used words. Okay. Here is an example. You can go through it. Okay. Same thing. Check. It's possible you can do it differently. Actually, you can do even better. You can write it in still fewer words than I have done if you rewrite the entire thing. I have not done that deliberately because I want to, at this stage, focus only upon redundant words, not about how to write or rewrite these sentences. Okay. Let's move on. Look at another exercise. Take a look at rewrite them and removing as you write, remove redundant words, inappropriate words, the program structure divides. Does the program structure divide itself, or do the administrators of the program divide? So, the best would be, appropriate would be passive voice. The program is divided semester wise. Our program is divided with focus semester wise, okay, or focus on different subject in different semesters. And then you could have said, first comes fundamentals, then come core technical, and finally comes speciality. Okay. Allowing students to develop, allowing learners to develop skills progressively. Okay. Whatever the philosophy, all of these things could have been said in simpler words. Otherwise, it is so intimidating. The fog index is so high. They are all big words, rare words, uncommon words, found and heard only in the language of university students and their teachers. Okay. The program structure divides the focus or its focus semester, and not just semester wise, and finally, these three names, fundamentals. What do you mean by fundamentals? The fundamental subject, fundamental concepts, core technical and specialty courses. Okay. So, all of these words could be are either not necessary, or if they are necessary, they could be replaced with similar and simpler words, similar in meaning. Look at this, the program. Why do you have to say structure and divides and its focus? One can straight go on. The program focuses semester wise, and then you name the courses. Okay. And special optionals, no need, to use unnecessarily a lot of adjectives and adverbs, which are all redundant, And special optionals, challenging learning experiences. What do you mean? You challenge a person, okay, you challenge a situation, but challenging experience, what do you mean? Not very clear, okay, such as case competitions. Now, obviously, the author means to say that a program that teaches management skills by simulating the situation, by creating that situation, even if artificially, then then students who have done these things, such as case competitions, will have faster growth. They will, they will already have seen a bit of theory and a bit of practice, while others will be waiting. So, that is how it goes, solving real business problems with other or fellow Russians. But you see, how many words does it replace? How many does it? And the last two lines. Okay. You will realize that adjectives and adverbs are burdens, or verbal burdens on good prose. Try and do without as many of them as you can. For example, look at the bunch of, in this sentence, the bunch of adjectives. A bunch of like-minded, ardent, students. Students may have some cultural differences. One student coming from Africa may have different preferences for food compared with another student from Europe or Southeast Asia, etc. But they are all learners, they are all ardent, they are all there to learn. Okay. Why do you have to say these things? This is what I mean by redundancy. Words that need not be there. It is not that these are incorrect words, you know. Okay. Similarly, you know, adjectives like challenging learning experiences. You can simply say, you know, special options, or at the most, if you want to say some more, you can say difficult options. But you know, words like challenging learning experiences are called hyperbolic, you know, very big words used unnecessarily. Similarly, to teach me working, why with diverse cultures? You have already said in, and you know, it can be in diverse cultures, rather than, you know, the original said diverse cultural backgrounds. What do you mean by cultural background? Are you going to work in that cultural background or in that culture? So, you know, unnecessary use of big words actually works differently. It becomes a burden on your writing, and the reader may find it extremely difficult to understand. Look at the last two lines. In my opinion, the entire those two, you know, those entire lines serve no particular purpose except to show how many words and how many difficult words the writer knows. Okay. So, you know, to say that to teach me working with diverse cultural background and simultaneously upskill technical and business knowledge, upskill, so many words are used. This is what I mean by redundancy. What do you mean by upskill technical? Do you mean to learn more, to learn better, to learn doing things with your hands? Is that what you mean? Then say so. You know, this is what we mean by this. Is, you know, these words of this kind are known as jargon. You know, which are, you know, and you know, which are very context specific, only there, and even there, you know, they are not necessary to be used, right? Neither are they required, nor do they convey anything except the fact that you know so many words. So, let us get rid of all those adjectives and adverbs that are not necessary. A bunch of like-minded I can understand. I can understand you can saying a group of young students are like-minded. Why ardent? How have you measured who is ardent and who is not? Okay. What is the meaning of the word ardent? Does it fit here? Okay. And then, you know, use of traffic related, or you know, words like accelerate, enhance. They really don't, you know, growth may be fine, perhaps because you learn you will grow, but you know, you use these adjectives metaphorically or even otherwise. That is what we have to learn. We have to use very simple everyday words where we may not go wrong in either spelling or vocabulary. So, what you have done is I have created an exercise for you. On the left hand, you have jargon, cliche. What is cliche? Cliche is that word which has been overused and people use it mindlessly now. In no matter what they write, they use this word, okay, without realizing that if it is necessary here, okay, and does it convey the meaning exactly as I wish to, and third and most importantly, you know, will it not look like I have copied from others rather than my own writing? Because cliche is that word which has not only been used, which has been overused, okay, and they really have stopped meaning anything. So, you know, jargon, cliche, redundant words, they must be removed. They should have no place in any piece of good writing. So, on the left hand I have given you those words, and in the right hand I have suggested that in place of practical application you can simply say use, rather than like that. I have tried to give you. Why say long lasting? Does learning have a shelf life only so long? And if it is, you think it is a must, then use simple words, a durable, personal experience. How can you have somebody else's experience? So personal is entirely unnecessary. It's not wrong, but it is unnecessary. Is engenders the best word to use here? In my opinion, it's not appropriate. The appropriate word will be causes, creates, helps, makes, okay, but not engenders. Engender is when you in a very highly, and once again, it's like a cliche, well, worn out. You can look up a dictionary and see the history of that word and what it means and why the author should not use it here. Such a big, phrase, experiential learning methodology. Why can't we say learn by use or learning by use? A unique blend of can be better written as a mix of theoretical course, or just a theory or theory course, the incredible opportunity. This is what we call exaggerating or hyperbole, saying something more than necessary or more than maybe true. Okay? The incredible opportunity, the best is right chance. It brings incredible or the incredible opportunity of working with big people. Why should it be incredible? It's a big chance, or not even big, it's a chance. That is the uniqueness of this university, that it is located in an industrial town and its courses are taught by both professors who are full-time teachers and by industry experts who are visiting teachers, who are part-time teachers. If you say it this way, that would make greater sense than to say that I will have the incredible opportunity to learn from industry experts. This is such a mouthful. Look at that, boost my professional growth. This is how an undergraduate student is raised. Help him grow, help him learn. Okay. Next, I have left for you. Look at it and try and fill in the blanks on the right hand. Okay. What would you like to say for by providing an insight? Think about it. Sometimes it is maybe necessary for you to look up a thesaurus. What is a thesaurus? A thesaurus is a collection of words according to meaning. So, do you want to say fine here or nice here, providing an insight? Would you like to say introspection? Would you like to say view? Would you like to say glance? Would you like to say glimpse? Would you like to say look? There are lots of words which are with similar meaning, but what would fit best? So, thesaurus is a dictionary where words have been organized not just by alphabet, but also by meaning. Okay? So that when you write, it will be easier for you to check with that word whether that word fits the context you have in mind. Okay? So, if you look up a dictionary and a thesaurus, in the beginning it may take some time, in the beginning it may be slightly irritating, but if you stay on, if you stick on, you will not only enjoy doing it, you will also learn a great truth about writing, namely that great writers are not born. You become a great writer by doing these things. And once you learn using one or two words correctly in this manner, learning and your mind is such a powerful machine that it will extend that learning to all other domains of knowledge you operate in, you live with. So, check and write for each of these phrases, write the simpler word or simpler phrase on the right hand side And once you have written it, check with the answers I am giving you. Okay. So, in place of by providing an insight, you can also say by giving an insight, or simply by helping them see, okay, or help a view. The US corporate environment, why use such big word? You can simply say American industry. You know, the sentence is, it can help you understand the psychology of the US corporate environment. You can simply say, it will help you understand American industry. The program structure, you can simply say the program. To develop skills, you know, allowing a students, help a student to develop skills progressively. Well, to learn, what is learning? Learning, this is learning, you know. You acquire something today and you acquire something tomorrow, and they come together, then that is learning, okay. Or you know why they cannot come together, that is also learning. So, you know, check your answers if you got something similar. Maybe you got something better, but if you don't, if your answer doesn't agree with the answers I have given, kindly check with the dictionary and thesaurus, and if the dictionary and thesaurus goes with you, that is wonderful, that is congratulations. That means you have learned it. You know how to write simple words in, you know, more effectively in a better language. Another piece of exercise, you see, we cannot give you lots of exercises here. What we are going to do is, we are going to give you a link along with the course to a pool of exercises, and all of these exercises will have this kind of shape. You have questions on one hand, but answers may not be there immediately. Try and answer those questions and then check with the answers we may have given to that additional resource pool, in that additional resource pool, and then, you know, check your answers and see if you got them right. If you got them right, then you deserve our congratulations, and, you know, sky is the limit for you. You can go as high and as far as, you know, you would wish to. But if you still make mistakes, then go and do further exercises patiently using dictionary, thesaurus, etc., etc. And you will find that you not only enjoy learning, you also learn better, more and faster. Here are the answers. Check, compare, and in case of doubt, compare also with the dictionary that you may get, you know. A strong belief, why can't we say faith? Brilliant faculty, why use these adjectives, you know? This is nothing but attitude. So, given a choice, don't say strong belief, say faith. Don't say brilliant faculty, just say faculty, okay. Equip me to achieve my career goals. Well, it may be correct, but better in my opinion would be to say helps make a career, okay. Right, you know, this is how we learn, by taking tasks, trying ourselves, and when we do not get them, then checking with the given answers or with dictionary, thesaurus, and either a teacher or a friend or a writer or somebody else. The final thing is, how do you develop a vocabulary where you know this word fits best? You have both simple, common and uncommon word. You have see and view, okay. You have speak and talk. You have say and tell. How do you know what would fit better? No matter how many lectures you attend by Shreesh Chaudry or by any other teacher, you know, big or you know, not so big, that will be limited learning. The best way to learn is read and write that sort of literature which also brings you this challenge to you. It doesn't mean read only one kind, read a variety, and that way you will come across new expressions, new words, new phrases almost every day. And when you come across those new things, then, you know, there are two attitudes. Some people say, oh, generally the meaning can be made out. Why bother, It will stop the flow of reading or listening. It's most likely to mean that. Quite often they are right, It's not that they are wrong. Guessing is not a bad thing, Guessing is our animal instinct. Okay? But by guessing you can never be sure. Your learning will stay there. It will not grow. Therefore, the best is a reader and most importantly a writer. Anyone who writes is a writer. Not that only those who write novels and history are writers. Anybody who writes, uses pen and paper, uses his computer for more than surfing, is a writer. So a writer must have these tools, like painters have paint and brush and a surface on which to paint, or carpenters have hammer and nail and saw and what not. Similarly, a writer must have these things besides pen and paper or besides a laptop computer. That is readily available, readily usable dictionary, a thesaurus which helps you choose between or among similar sounding words, and an encyclopedia. Or today we have internet, where whenever we have questions about content, shape, spelling, we go to this source and get the answer. If you have these three, and it is not important to have only these three, it is also important to use these three. If you have and use these three, it is quite likely that your vocabulary will grow faster than you may have imagined. So, to conclude, reading a dictionary is not a bad idea. You can occasionally look up a dictionary, see what this word means, what that word means, how they mention meanings, spellings, pronunciation, etc., etc. is not a bad idea. But that is not the way to learn most and the best. The best way to learn, maximum learning can happen, is by reading other things. And when you come across new words, new expressions, new phrases, then do not postpone checking the answers. Check the answer right there, as soon as possible, as fast as possible, and you will find that you are not only learning more, you are also a more confident user of the language. So, do more, use the pool, resource pool, and do the exercises and check them with the answers we have given. Thank you.